Older Australians' use of digital technology has improved and increased during the first year of the pandemic, but their comfort with digital technology has declined. That is according to a new report by National Seniors Australia called "I am trying to keep up to date, but it is moving so fast." Joining me now live is National Seniors Chief Executive and Director of Research, Professor John McCallum. Professor, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Look, there's no doubt that so much has gone online since the pandemic began, but of course also the use of apps. How difficult has it been for some?
Well, good afternoon, Danica. I think what's really interesting is that people learnt to web search, to stream TV, to bank online, and to video call more during the epidemic because they had to. And it doesn't mean that you're comfortable with it. It means you can do it. And digital expertise in older people is quite good.
Well, that's a really good point, and one that I thought was interesting, that older Australians' use of technology has actually improved during this time. So that's got to be a positive.
Look, it is a positive. Part of it is because you have to do it. You know, you had COVID, you locked at home, so people were doing it. So actually being able to do it, having the skills, doesn't necessarily mean you're comfortable with it, and people can be quite still concerned about it. I mean, I think some of the things we're all concerned about, which is that it's very hard when you have a problem to get it solved. You have to go through a robotic voice. You have to, wait in a queue. So those sort of things are very uncomfortable.
Which technology has been the most challenging, according to this survey?
Well, I think probably internet banking, which people felt they had to do, not necessarily comfortable with it, concerned about, being scammed or things going wrong with it. And interestingly, not just the technology side of it, but being concerned about younger people perhaps not getting jobs in banks anymore because they're doing it online.
Would you say that the pandemic has forced seniors into this digital world?
It certainly has. And for some people, that's a delight. They can now stream things that they really love. For other people, it's I just had to do it because I couldn't do it any other way. And I don't feel very comfortable on the web. Now, I think what's very interesting is that I think older people watch younger people and see they're quite different in the way they use the web.
Well, that's certainly the case. And I found another interesting point of this survey was that many seniors are actually adopting Netflix and other television streaming devices during this time. How different is that? I mean, it's not every day that, necessarily older people would sit down and take up these streaming services.
No, it is a new thing really, because people watch free-to-air TV typically, don't they? So being able to stream was a great delight for some people. Now, this is fantastic. It's a new world for us.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Do you think overall, though, that the use of technology and being able to use it has actually streamlined the process for a number of older Australians who otherwise maybe would have had to have gone into a bank, for example, but now they can use the online banking system? Has it actually streamlined the process, do you think?
It certainly has streamlined it with, I think, a bit of a sense of risk for some people. So being able to have the skills to do it doesn't necessarily mean you're engaged or you're comfortable with it. But nonetheless, we're all a bit like that, aren't we? And things change and we've got to keep up with them. If you don't keep up with digital technology, it drives us way ahead and you get left behind, and you're not an active citizen, really, if you don't have it.
What sort of support services are out there for older Australians who are perhaps struggling to use technology and need to use it? How can they be assisted?
So, Danica, probably too little is the short answer, and you can pick them up. They tend not to be terribly well funded. So there needs to be, I think, when the government shifts to a digital platform or a business does, they really do need to bring people along with them, not leave them behind and have them catching up and trying to work out what's going on. So I think there needs to be a greater investment in that. And particularly, I think we need to get more going around the scams, because they escalated last year, in our experience particularly, by about 10% from the middle of last year. So people are getting more and more scamming, and that makes it very uncomfortable doing the things we're talking about, which can be very useful.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to hear that everyone's been trying to give it a go during the last 2 years of the pandemic, no matter the challenges. So good to hear. John McCallum, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Danica.